I've been working on restoring this machine for a couple of months. It has been an undertaking, but I'm very happy with the results, and it's really nice how the machine's cleaned up. And not only that, it works. That's the nicest thing. I have a multi-part series plan showing how I did all of the work on this machine. What I want to show you today is how I got the floppy drive working. The original drive that came with this machine ultimately failed, but I was able to find a different one and adapt it to work with this machine. I've tried to break this into 3 different segments. Final phase, I'll be talking about using a Gotek, a modern emulator for floppy disk drives. And try to show the innards here. So this is the Gotek, and I've attached a small piezo buzzer speaker, which I'll show more closely in a minute. I'm just going to go over the changes I've made to this Gotek to get it to work with the drum machine here. So when I first got the Gotek, there was a jumper across S1 there, and there was also a jumper that was not vertical but sideways across J5 and JA. And I think that actually doesn't do anything. That's like it's like an extra jumper they just threw on sideways. It doesn't have any function. So you can remove it. I took it off mine and it doesn't seem to have any effect. So again, the change is take the jumper off of S1, move it onto S0, and then you can add a little speaker if you want, buzzer onto JB. And that's it. If you ever had a desktop PC back in the day, you turn it on and it goes, that's where that sound comes from. It's the same thing. Now, some of these are polarized, and you might notice that one of the legs here is taller or longer or shorter than the other. So basically, if you connect this thing to the Gotek and you don't hear a sound, just turn it the other way around. So there's the whole setup. Unfortunately, the Gotek does not make the MPC any faster to load or save. It's just as slow as a real drive. I guess it doesn't have to actually physically move the heads and seek, so it could be a little bit faster, but I think this thing is actually a pretty close emulation of the real thing. Just for additional context for those who are maybe a little technically minded or curious, this, as far as I know, is the floppy drive controller chip inside the MPC. So SED9420C, that's the thing that is responsible for talking to the disk drive and doing the I/O, loading and saving of files and all that. So that thing is designed for double density drive, double density disks. Those things run at 250 kilobits per second. High-density disks are 500 kilobits per second. So that thing right there has a fixed data rate. So it only goes at 250. And basically, it's like a one-speed engine. That's as much as it can do. So even if you think, I'll connect a modern device that's faster, nope. This thing can only send and receive data at 250 kilobits a second, so that's all you get. There we go. So you see FlashFloppy plus 3.42. What I'm going to do here is try to update to the newest FlashFloppy firmware. I do have other things that I can do 5 volts with. But the easiest thing, one easy one, is to use a Greaseweazle. I think the person who makes Greaseweazle also does the FlashFloppy firmware, so that's kind of fun. So I can plug in the Greaseweazle here, and then we can connect power to Gotek, which is kind of funny, because we're just using that for power. This doesn't actually talk data to the computer. So that's booted up. We've got FlashFloppy 3.42. This Gotek, when I bought it, it came with FlashFloppy already installed. FlashFloppy is not the official firmware for this device, but I think it's the most popular. So if you don't already have FlashFloppy on here, you're going to want to read. There's a bit of a technical process to flash the firmware on there. So if I read correctly, I think you have to apply power and you push and hold these two buttons and start up the Gotek, and then it will give you the firmware update. Power up, holding buttons. Update, yeah, great. So I guess I release the buttons, and I guess it's, wow, I guess that's done. Let's take a look. Verify. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that upgraded just fine. Okay, that was easy. For FlashFloppy to work with the MPC, you need to set a couple of options in an ff.cfg text file, and you put this file in the root directory of your USB thumb drive. I specify three options here. The first one is interface equals Shugart. This is basically the classic floppy drive interface. The two main ones back in the day were the IBM style interface and the Shugart interface, long story short. That's the 34 pins that connect to the drive. You want to specify host equals AKAI. This one may vary a bit, but I find that AKAI works. Host basically helps load the disk images. Last option, I specify nav mode equals native. The reason I do that is it's easier just to browse the files. If you choose an indexed mode, then everything has to be numbered 000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and such. So this gives you more flexibility to rename things, and you don't have to worry about things disappearing. So I use the HxCFloppyEmulator software, this is free, to create a DOS floppy disk file. And I choose a 3.5-inch, 800 kilobyte, double-sided, double-density FAT12 image, create the disk, and now you have basically an empty floppy disk, which you can save, and save it as the HFE file format. And then you put that on the USB key that goes into the Gotek. And then the drum machine should recognize that you have an empty disk. And you can format it and save files and load files just like a real disk. Now, let's say you've downloaded some AKAI disk image from the internet, and it's an IMG file. Now, chances are floppy emulator software will recognize it, but the Gotek might not. So what you can do is load it and then do an export and then choose HFE as your format. You convert it to HFE, save, put that on the USB, and hopefully it should work. Another thing that's kind of fun, you can browse images in this software. Interesting thing about these disks is they're 800 kilobytes instead of 720. And the way they do that is by using 10 sectors per track. So it's 80 times 10, 800, basically. Let's say you've downloaded a whole bunch of IMG disk images and you want to do a batch conversion. Use the batch converter and specify a directory and then specify the, again, format, HFE format you want to convert to. And I found this handy when I downloaded a bunch of AKAI disk images. Just for bonus points, a little bit of extra fun, I had this idea. What if I take the Gotek and then I connect it to the Greaseweazle, which is, I think I've mentioned, a modern way to connect a floppy drive to a modern computer. So I've got a Mac Studio here, USB to the Greaseweazle, and then that's going to a floppy drive. Now in this case, it happens to be a virtual floppy drive, but it should work just like the real thing. Okay, I'm going to try a little experiment on the empty disk image here, and I've got Greaseweazle on the computer. I'm going to try issuing a command to see if I can get the drive to respond. So I think it's RPM drive equals 0. Okay, that seems to be working, although hilariously it says 277 RPM. All right. So Greaseweazle write file. Now I've got to specify format IBM 800 drive equals 0. So this is an AKAI disk image I downloaded from the internet as an IMG, and that's a raw DOS image. Now that should be converted when it's written to the Greaseweazle. Yeah, there it goes. Not sure if you can hear, but it's ticking away. Bring the mic down so you can hear that. Not exactly the fastest thing in the world, but I guess that's a good example of why the MPC is also pretty slow. Okay, I'll follow up when it's done. That took forever. Okay, I guess let's just do a read for fun. Let's do test. I guess the read is faster because the write involves a write and then a read back to verify. All right. All 1600 sectors, that's 800 sectors per side. That's 80 times 10. And then 2 sides, so 80 times 10 times 2. Sure took a while to read, but hey, that's double density for you. Here's a demo of some of the AKAI stock sounds from 1988 from some of the disk images I found. These are pretty funny. Just keep in mind, this is 1988 after all.